Hello, dear students. Welcome back to your science classes. How are you all? I hope you all are healthy and doing well. So, students, I'm your science educator again here with a new chapter and a new concept. Today, we are going to start our chapter number 5, which is about bones, joints, and muscles. So, before starting this chapter, you have to observe your bones, your muscles, and your joints. Okay. So, we are start this class in a practical way where we have to understand each and everything about our body. Okay. So, what are the learning objectives today we have? So, what are the learning objectives today we have? How does the skeleton helps us? Bones are alive. Structure of a bone, bones of the human skeleton are fracture, broken bone, and we can keep our bones healthy. How we can keep our bones healthy? Joints, muscles, and how do muscles work? Physical exercise and proper posture. So these are the learning objectives today we have in this class. Every time we walk, settle comfortably in a chair or hug someone, we are using our bones, muscles and joints. Without these important body parts, we would not be able to stand, walk or even sit. Our bones form the general framework of the body called skeleton. So this is our body. Right now, this body, it's first of all a skeleton. After skeleton, on this body, we have muscles which provide us a structure basically, because if we don't have this hard bones inside our body, so we don't have a structure and we just a kind of a flesh. So first of all, bones provides us a structure, and this structure, the framework we have, basically your body, that is called your skeleton. So now how does skeleton helps us? So how we have to understand this? Support. The main job of the skeleton is to provide support to our body. Without the skeleton, our body would collapse into a heap. Our skeleton is strong but light. Without bones, we would be just a pile of skin and guts on the floor. So what we understand here, if I don't have this hard bone inside my hand, so my hand it's look like it's just a heap which is just kind of a body which collapse into a heap. That's it. Or I can say that it is just kind of a skin I have without a proper posture, without a proper structure, right? So skeleton help us to give a structure and give a support to our body. Next, protection. Our skeleton also helps to protect our internal organs. The brain, eyes, heart, lungs and spinal cord are all protected by skeleton. Our cranium skull protects our brain and eyes. The ribs protect our heart and lungs and our vertebrae. Spine, backbones protect our spinal cord. So first of all, what you have to understand, you have to touch your brain. So when you touch your brain, what you see, what you observe a hard skeleton, right? This hard skeleton will help, this hard skeleton helps us to protect our brain. Next, you have to take your hand and put your hand between your middle of the chest or from and at left hand side, what you observe, your heart, your vertebrae, your it's protected by the ribs which we have in the skeleton form. So what we understand here, the skeleton first of all provides a support, a structure. Second, they protect our body organs, your brain, your heart. It's so important for your body, and without the skeleton we cannot protect them, right? Next we have movement. Bones provide the structure for muscles so that our bodies are able to move. Tendons are tough bands of fibrous connective tissue that usually connected muscles to bones. So what we understand here, the movement we are doing, for example, do like this, what we do here, it is a movement of my hand, and this movement it's not possible without my bones, because in this case my muscle is not movement, my skin is not give any kind of movement. These joint, this connective tissue, right, these tendons are helping me to take this and to do this movement. Although the bones are very light, they are strong enough to support our entire weight. The human skeleton has 206 bones. How many bones we have? All of you repeat after me. 206, which begin to develop before birth. A newborn baby has 300 bones. As the body grows, some of these fuse together. So when we a newborn baby, total we have 300 bones. but after some time these fuse are some kind after some time as our body grows, some of the bones are just fused together. When the adult skeleton first forms, it is made of flexible cartilage, but within a few weeks, it becomes the process of ossification. Ossification is when the cartilage is replaced by hard deposit of calcium phosphate and stretchy collagen, the two main components of bone. It takes about 20 years for this process to be completed. So what we understand here, when we have a newborn baby and before our adulting time, we can say you are a teenager right now, right? So in this, what we understand here, first of all, our body, it's like it's made up of flexibility. You generally hear this kind of sentence, you have to move, you have to run, your body will grow more. But after when we cross our 20 years age, we see now you cannot grow further just because of that, because this process, ossification process, is completed, done in our body, and that is why we cannot have that much flexibility which we have in when we are teenager, when we small. And we already understood what is mean by ossification. In ossification process, calcium phosphate are deposit on our skin, and this process is take 20 years of a newborn baby. So the bones of kids and young teens are smaller than those of adults, contain growing zones called growth plates. These plates consist of columns of multiplying cartilage cells that grow in length and then change into hard. You already also heard one of the sentence, if at this age your bone is break, it cannot recover. Just because of that, because these kind of processes are already done in our body, and further they cannot do further they cannot get completed like this. So your body getting attached to your in a same way as you do as you have earlier, it cannot be possible. But when we small, this kind of things, if we have a fracture, so we have some time to protect our body, to work our body in that way only. Okay. So, and one more thing, how they happen, this is called your growing zones. When the growth platelets are added on, these plates consist of columns of multiplying cartilage cells that grow in length and then change into hard mineralized bones. These growth plates are easy to support on an X-ray because girls mature an earlier age than boys. The growth plates change into hard bones and at an earlier age. We already know that girls are get more mature. Girls are get mature early as compared to boys. Boys, after they are crossing their teenager, they then start their growth. But girls start their growth before teenager. After crossing their puberty time, they have a slow process of growth as compared to boys. So this growth plates are more appeared in girls as compared appeared earlier in girls as compared to boys. Now bones are alive. How we know that bones are alive? Alive means when we see growth. And when you small, your hand is too small, right? Now you are a big one, so your bones are also increased in size. It means they show growth. And who show growth? It means it is alive. So all bones are dead, dry and brittle, but in the body, bones are very much alive. They have their own nerves and blood vessels, and they do various jobs such as storing body minerals like calcium. Bones are made up of a hard stuff that gives them strength and helps them grow and repair themselves. So bones can what are the functions bones can do themselves? They protect strength, help them to grow and repair themselves. So when you have a fracture, bones have that much capability that they can grow their own. Okay. So now we are going to learn about the structure of a bone. A typical bone has an outer layer of hard or compact bone. So this is your typical structure of your bone, in which first of all we have a hard layer of compact bone, which is very strong, dense and tough. It is very strong, dense and tough. Inside this is a layer of spongy bone, which is like a honeycomb. So this is your compact bone, outside of your bone, right? This is inside of your bone, which we call spongy bone, which is like a honeycomb, lighter and slightly flexible. In the middle of some bones is jelly like bone marrow, where new cells are constantly being produced for the blood. Calcium is an important mineral that bone cells need to stay strong. That is why your mother always told you you have to drink water, because you have to drink milk, because milk is a very good source of calcium, and that is why our bones are so strong just by drinking milk. Now, bones of the human skeleton. The human skeleton consists of the following groups of bones. So we have to understand. The first we have the skull. Skull is your part of your above your neck. Okay. So the skull is called the cranium and brain box. It has eight bones. How many bones? Eight bones. The cranium protects the most important organ of the body, the brain. The brain is the manager of your body. If your manager is not present, or you can say brain is your monitor of your class. Monitor know what you have to do, when you have to do, where is your time period, where is your timetable, how you have to do all the class activities, right? Or you can say, oh, your class teacher who know all of you and know how to run their class. So this is your brain. Without brain, our body is waste. Beside the brain, it gives protection to the eyes, the ears, and the nose. It also protects us. It also protects our eyes, ears, and nose. The bones in the skull are joined together by sutures, and how they are connected by each other with the help of suture. So what we understand? First we have the skull. Skull, we called it cranium as well as brain box. This skull helps us to protect our brain, eyes, ears, and nose, and the skull which are joined together. The bones joined together in skull, that is with the help of sutures only. Now we have rib cage. This is your rib cage. Kind of cage, kind of, right? You see here. That is why we called it rib cage. It is a cage-like structure formed by 12 pairs. 12 long pairs curved bones. Of these, the first 10 pairs are joined to the breastbone in the front and to the vertebral column backbone at the back. The remaining two pairs are joined to the backbone only. They are called floating ribs. Their lungs and the heart are protected by this cage. So this is your rib cage. Total we have 12 pairs. 12 pairs means total we have 24 long curved bones. Okay, in this 10 of them are joined to breastbone. This is your breastbone now. 10 of them are joined together, and only 2 are not joined, and those 2 are called your floating ribs, because they are not connected to your rib cage, your backbone. And the lungs and the heart are protected by this rib cage, because your rib cage is present here, and you already know that till here that. So in this area you only have your lungs and your heart. So heart and lungs are protected by your rib cage. Now we have the backbone or vertebral column. So the backbone and vertebral column is same. Backbone means this is your backbone. Okay, you can touch and observe your backbone as well. So the vertebral column is made up of 33 bones. How many bones we have in our vertebral column? 33. These ring-shaped bones are called vertebrae. Sing vertebra. So this is your ring-like structure, the curve movement we have, that it's called your vertebrae. One vertebrae lies on top of the other. The vertebral column protects the spinal cord. Beside it, it supports the head and the neck and the body. So what we see here, you see a protection is here. We have a protection to our neck, right? This is due to our vertebral column. And what the main function we have for vertebral column? The first, they support our head, they protect our spinal cord, as well as they give us support to head and to body. Now next we have the girdles. There are two types of girdles in the human body: the shoulder girdle, the pectoral girdle, and the hip girdle, pelvic girdle. The shoulder girdle supports the bone of arms, while the hip girdle supports the bones of legs. The hip girdle is much stronger than the shoulder girdle, as it has to support the full weight of the body. So this is your shoulder girdle. You can observe this, right? This is, and you can also observe your hip girdle. And what we understand here, this shoulder girdle support the bones of our arms. In this case, they support bones to our arms, and in hip case, they give support to our legs. And as compared to shoulder girdle, your hip girdle it's more stronger. Just because of that, because on hip girdle we have to manage the weight of our body. Now, bones of arms and legs. The arms and legs. The arms and legs we have different kinds of bones in them. The bones in arms and thighs are long and hollow. Hollow means khali, empty, right? And they are long in size as well. Now we are going to learn about a fracture. So till now we understood what kind of bones we have in our body and how they protect our organs in different part of our body. But what will happen if we have a broken bone, a fracture? Bones are tough and usually do not break even when we have some pretty bad falls. So it is a very worst case. You have something very bad. It's happened with you. That's why your bone is broken. So surely you would have broken a big stick sometime. When you first try to break the stick, it bends a little, but with enough force, the stick finally snaps. It is the same with your bones. Bones will bend a little, but if you fall the wrong way from some playground equipment or your bike or your skateboard, you can break a bone. So generally what we understand here, we already have a slightly bent bone, but when we fall down on wrong way, so it will happen and it will result into a fracture, into a broken bone. Doctors call a broken bone a fracture. There are many different types of fractures we have. Luckily bones are made of living cells. When a bone is broken, our bone will produce lots of new cells, and to rebuild the bone, these cells cover both ends of the broken part of the bone and close up the break. So bone is a living cells, and when they breaken out, so they produce so many new cells which help us to protect and rebuild the broken bone. We can keep our bones healthy. How can we keep our bones healthy? Because still now we understood that bones plays a very important role in our body as well as in our life. So we need to protect our bones, right? So let's understand how can we protect our bones. Bones need regular exercise to stay strong as possible. Walking, jogging, running, and other physical activities are important in keeping our bones strong and healthy. So, riding a bike, basketball, soccer, gymnastics, baseball, dancing, skateboarding, these are the things which help us to make your bones in a good condition. So, make sure you wear or use the proper equipments like helmet, knee pads, shin guards, mats, knee pads, etc. to keep those bones safe. To strengthen our skeleton, we must drink milk and eat dairy products like paneer. Okay, so all of them contain calcium which help bones harden and become strong. So basically you just need to take more and more calcium to protect your bones. Okay, or calcium rich foods. That's it. Now we are going to learn about the joints we have. Joints means, as the name suggests, who help us to join two things together. For example, this is helping me to attach my upper hand and lower hand together. So it is a kind of a joint. My shoulder, who can show a movement, a proper movement, that is called your joint. Joints occur where two bones meet. They make the skeleton flexible. This is flexibility now. Without them, movement would be impossible. So joints allow our body to move in some ways in many so joints allow our bodies to move in many ways. Some joints open, close like a hinge, such as knees and elbows, whereas others are allow more complicated movement. A shoulder or a shoulder or hip joint, for examples, allow for backward or forward and sideways and rotating movement. So what we understand here, I can move my elbow like this, but I cannot move my elbow like this. If I take a backside of it, so I cannot move it. I can move my neck this way, this way, this way, but I cannot take a 360-degree angle, right? I cannot make that. So this kind of movements we have with the help of joints in our body. So joints are classified by their range of movements. Immovable joints don't move. The dome of the skull, for example, it's made of bony plates which must be immovable to protect the brain. Between the edges of these plates are links or joints. Immovable joints also holds the teeth in the jawbone. So what we understand here, we have two kinds of joints: immovable, which do not show any kind of movement, and movable, which show movement. So for example, your teeth, it's not showing any kind of movement, and that is also kind of a joint we have, right? We have joints in our skull as well, but they do not show any kind of movement to protect our brains. So this is called your immovable joint. Next we have partially immovable or cartilaginous joints. Move a little. They are linked by cartilage, as in the spine. Each of them vertebrae in the spine moves in relation to the one above and below it, and together this movement gives the spine its flexibility. Such joints are also known as gliding joints. So those kind of joints which show only partial mobility. For example, one of the example is or vertebrae column, who generally show little bit movement in your spine, so that it's called your cartilaginous joints, and we can also call them gliding joints. Okay, now we have freely movable or synovial joints, move in many directions. The main joints of the body found at the hip, shoulders, elbows, knees, wrists, and ankles are freely movable. I can move like this, I can move like this. Exceptional cases are also in this as well, but I can move it freely. Okay, they are filled with synovial fluid. In this, we call them synovial joints. In synovial joints, we have synovial fluid inside it, which acts as a lubricant to help the joints move easily. Lubricant means when you have to take a movement smoothly. So we use a oil kind of thing, and this oil kind of thing is already present in our body, in our joint, will help us to which will help us to move properly or fully. Now, three kinds of freely movable joints play a big part in voluntary movement. Hinge joint allows movement in one direction, as seen in the knees and elbows. So what you have to do, you have to move your knee, and you have to observe that how they move only in one direction. So this is called your hinge joint. Now we have pivot joints, allows rotating or twisting motions like that of the head moving from side to side. So this is your half semicircle, right? I cannot move it 360-degree, but I can move it 180-degree, like this, and this. So this is called your pivot joints. Now ball and socket joints. In ball and socket joint, you observe your ball and socket as well. So allows the greatest freedom of movement. The hips and shoulders have this type of joint in which the round end of a long ball fits into the hollow of another ball. So this is your bone. Okay, because I can move it freely. This is my ball, and this is the hollow joint which is connected to this. So this is called your ball and socket joints. Now we have muscles. Bones don't work alone. They need help from the muscles and joints. Muscles pull on the joints, allowing us to move. They also help our body perform other functions so we can grow and remain strong, such as chewing food and then moving it through the digestive system. So what we understand here, rest, we understand that bones plays a very important role in our body, but they cannot work alone. They need some external support as well, which is given by the muscles we have, and these muscles help us to grow further. For example, when we eat food, so these muscles are helping us to digest the food. So the fleshy part of the human body has more than 650 muscles. Total we have 206 bones. All of you repeat after me. How many bones we have? 206. And now we have total fleshy part of our body, which is 650 muscles, which makes up the half of person's body weight. They are connected to bones by tough cord-like tissues called tendons. So the fleshy part, when attached to a body, so that is attached with the help of the tendons. What we called it tendons, which allow the muscles to pull on bones. If we wiggle our finger, we can see the tendons on the back of our hand move as they do their work. So you just have to wiggle your finger, and you see the tendons backside of your finger. Okay, now next, what we have to understand, humans have three different kinds of muscles. So humans have three different kinds of muscles. The first we have skeleton or volunteer muscles. The skeleton muscles is attached to bone. So where these skeleton muscles are attached, they are attached to bones. mostly in the legs, arms, and abdomen, chest, neck, and face. These muscles hold the skeleton together, give their body shape, and help it with everyday movements. They are known as voluntary muscles because we can control their movement. They work at our will. They can contract, shorten, or tighten quickly and are powerful, but they tire easily and have to rest between workouts. So, what we understand here right now, when we you have to take a blink, it's not your choice. It is happen randomly as well. But I want to move my hand, I want to walk, I want to speak. This is my volunteer things which is controlled by me. So those movements which is controlled by you, the muscles which is controlled by you, this includes your volunteer muscles. And these volunteer muscles attached to the bones, the skeleton muscles attached to the bone, mostly where they legs, arms, abdomen, chest, neck, and face. And they are quickly and they can contract, shorten or tighten quickly and are powerful, but they are tired easily. So in volunteer movement, as I talk too much, as I walk too much, so what I need after some time, I need rest to cool them, right? Next we have smooth or involuntary muscles. Involuntary means the movement it's not controlled by me. This type of muscles look smooth. Generally, we can't consciously control our smooth muscles. Rather, they are controlled by the nerve system automatically. As your heart is beating 72 times per minute, and this movement is not controlled by you. When you sleep, your heart is still beating, so it means it is one of the kind of your involuntary muscles or smooth muscles inside your body. So examples of smooth muscles are the walls of the stomach, intestine, which helps break up the food and move it through the digestive system. Smooth muscles are also found in the walls of blood vessels, where the screws and the stream of blood flowing through the vessels to help maintain blood pressure. Smooth muscles take longer to contract than skeleton muscle do, but they can stay contracted for a long time because they do not tire easily. So what are the examples we have for smooth and involuntary muscles? The nerves, the blood streams we have inside our body, the nerves we have, the muscles we have inside our stomach, which help us to protect our body and which take our digestive system without our control. Okay. Now we have cardiac muscles. The example I already explained you, the beating time of the heart, right? It is included in your cardiac muscles. What I already told you that in heart it's beat 72 per minute, right? 72 beats per minute. It means the cardiac muscle is found in the heart. The walls of the heart chambers are composed almost entirely of muscle fibers. Cardiac muscles is also an involuntary type of muscle. It is rhythmic, powerful, and contraction force blood out of the heart as it beats. So as your heart beats, it is like a process. Lub dub sound we have in our heart. So this squeezes out the blood. They also done the movement of the blood as well. So blood's out of the heart as it beats. Now we have how do muscles work. Now we have to understand how do muscles work. So till now we learned about bones, joint, and now we have the work profile for muscles. Even when we sit perfectly still, muscles throughout our body are constantly moving. Muscles enable our heart to beat, our chest to rise and fall as we breathe, and our blood vessels to help regulate the pressure and flow of body through our body. So, what we understand here, when we sit calmly, it doesn't mean we cannot take, we are not in functioning process. Our muscles at that time also in function. They do muscles throughout. They still perfectly work throughout our body. Your heart beats, right? When you take breathe in and breathe out, to your chest is rise or fall down, and our blood vessels are also at that time regulate our blood pressure. So what we understand here, that muscles plays a very important in our life, and they are also working whole day without our control. When we smile and talk, muscles are helping us to communicate, and when we exercise, they help us to stay physically fit and healthy. So they also help us, they also work when we smile, when we talk. So these are the muscles right now. These are the muscles who in function right now. So the movement our muscles make are coordinated and controlled by the brain and nerve system. This movement is controlled by brain, and your nerve system. The muscles move body parts by contracting and then relaxing. Our muscles can pull bones, but they can't push them back to the original position. So the work in pairs of flexors and extensors. The flexor contracts to bend a limb at a joint. Then when we completed the movement, the flexor relaxes and the extensor contract to extend or straighten the limb at the same time. So what we understand, for example, the biceps muscles in the front of the upper arm is a flexor, and the tricep at the back of the upper arm is an extensor. So when we bend our elbow, the biceps contracts, then the bicep relaxes and the triceps contract to straighten the elbow. So what we understand when we take biceps, right? So it is a kind of examples you have how this flexors and extenders work, and this is the whole thing we understand here. Now we have physical exercise and proper posture. Proper posture means you always have to erectly, you have to straighten yourself, your body in a erect way. You don't have like this fold down body posture, and you always have to sit erectly. Regular physical exercise and proper posture are necessary for the growth and the strength of the muscles. The regular exercise increase circulation of blood. Regular exercise help us to circulate of blood inside our body properly. This makes the muscles stronger. Wrestlers and weightlifters have big and strong muscles. Good postures while standing, walking, and sitting will help the muscles to be healthy. Incorrect posture affect respiration and efficient work. So what we have to understand here, when we stand, so we should be erectly stand, and when we sit, so our posture should be good, because if we have bad posture, so it will not help us to grow our body, as well as we have a very bad personality in a peer group as well. So you have to give a structure to your body by using a good posture habit. And students, this is the end of your chapter. I hope so you understood this chapter very well. Now I'm going to meet you in your next class. Till that, bye bye, have a good day.